there YouTube friends, welcome back to another episode of Auntie A's Kitchen. My name's Amanda, I'm originally from England but I now live in South Korea and I love sharing with people simple and delicious recipes that you can cook here in South Korea. If you're new to the channel, hi there, and yes CEO, welcome to everybody. I hope you're having a great week. I'm excited about sharing today's recipe with you. It's incredibly delicious and simple to make. We're not going to use an oven, we're going to do everything on top of our stove. As the thumbnail suggests, I'm going to be sharing with you today a creamy tomato jalapeno beef sauce rigatoni pasta recipe. That was a bit of a mouthful there. I am going to be using some of my homemade tomato sauce. I shared this with you in the last video and I'll leave a link in the description below if you haven't seen it. If you don't have time to make your own tomato sauce, that's okay. Just substitute it for a shop-bought tomato pasta sauce. So let me show you today creamy tomato jalapeno beef sauce with rigatoni pasta in South Korea. Thanks for watching. I'm using a whole onion for this recipe. I will cut it up and then put some oil into a pan and get this heating up. I like using a white onion, but if you only have red, that's okay. I thought I would use a different kind of bacon today, so I found this bacon steak in Emart. I cut up about 1/3 of it into smaller pieces and then get it into the pan cooking. You will notice in today's recipe I won't use that much salt because of the bacon and also that I'm cooking the pasta in salty water. I personally like using jalapenos, not just for the flavour but also for the texture that they bring in a dish. If you don't have any jalapenos, just substitute it for either some Korean green pepper or some red pepper flakes. Start off with a few and then you can always add more if you'd like more heat. The bacon's had a good head start in cooking, so now I add the beef. Today I'm using some Australian beef, but I generally use any beef that is on special offer or I buy it in bulk at Costco. Once your beef starts to get a little bit of colour, then we can start seasoning and adding a few more ingredients. I start with some garlic. I'm only using a few cloves to begin with, as I know that I have seasoned my tomato sauce with garlic as well. If you don't have a garlic press, just smash your garlic with a knife on the counter, add some salt and then cut it up, and this will do the same. I get my garlic mixed in, and you can see here that a lot of the liquid from the meat is now cooked down, and the meat has a wonderful colour. So I now add my homemade tomato sauce. If you've never made your own tomato sauce, then I highly recommend. It's not difficult, and what's great is that you can season it in any way that you want. I like to make my tomato sauce quite thick, so I also add a jar of water. I get this mixed in and then allow it to simmer down on my stovetop. I like how my sauce is looking and the smell in my kitchen is fantastic, so I add my jalapenos. You'll see here that I haven't cut them up into little bits. I like to leave them quite big, and that way if anyone's eating and they don't like jalapeno, they can remove them quite easily. In between each stage of adding a new ingredient, don't forget to taste your food and season where needed. Now a quick tip for you, whenever using a shop-bought pasta sauce, typically I would expect to add a few herbs. Some basic herbs to keep in your cupboard to help you do this would be thyme, basil, oregano, sage, just to name a few. These can often really help to enhance the flavour of a tomato sauce. The meat sauce is tasting great. It has a bit of a kick but not too much. I add just a little bit more water and then get on with preparing the pasta. I season my pan with a generous amount of salt and then wait for it to boil. A question I often get asked is how I measure out my pasta, and with the rigatoni, this big pasta, I will typically do 2 handfuls per person, and with smaller pasta I will do about 1.5 per person. I then throw in a little bit of extra in case anyone wants seconds. Once your pasta is in your pan, don't forget to stir. While the pasta is cooking, I get on with the final stage, and that is adding our cream cheese to the sauce. 2 spoonfuls of Philadelphia cheese to the sauce, get that mixed in, a final taste, and we are ready to serve up. A famous quote, you've probably heard of it. It goes, "Failing to plan is planning to fail." So I like to cook more than I need, and I will put this into containers, leave it on the side to cool down, and then place it in my freezer, and this means that I will have a meal for another day when it is busy, and that just helps us to eat healthy. I check my pasta and it is al dente, which means that it is undercooked, firm to the bite. You always need to remember that it will cook a little bit more in your sauce. So I drain off the water and add it to my sauce, and I'm now ready to serve up. So here we have a simple and delicious pasta dish to eat. A creamy tomato jalapeno beef sauce with rigatoni. I add a little parmesan on top and garnish with some ground pepper and parsley. Thanks for watching today. Please now go make this for your family and friends and tag me in any of your photos on Instagram when you make these recipes. If you have not already, don't forget to hit the like button and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out when I post some more simple and delicious recipes online. Talking of delicious, the next video I will be posting is a traditional English snack-stroke dessert that you won't want to miss out on. So until then, have a great week. God bless. Chop po kamnara.